In the know for Saturday, August 10th, I'm Matt Hammel filling in for Rachel. Meteorologist Rhythm Reet will join us in just a moment to unpack all of this rainfall. A couple of interesting storylines to discuss, but the remnants of Debby bringing flooding and historic rainfall, the rainiest day ever recorded for one major Canadian city. Now, certainly saw lots of impacts of flooding, and here in Quebec, which is where we really saw some of the greatest impacts as a result of all of this rainfall. It started late Thursday, but yesterday was that big rainfall day. And our meteorologist Rhythm Reet joins us now to unpack what was certainly an interesting journey this storm took to bring all this rain in Canada.
Yeah, Matt, when we're talking about Debby now, a post-tropical cyclone, actually a depression, you can kind of see with the satellite imagery, that's going to be bringing rain across Labrador for Newfoundland for our day today. But when we take a look back from Thursday night all through yesterday, we had some magnificent, and I mean heavy amount of rainfall. Cornwall saw 102 millimeters of rain. Montreal actually broke a record. Montreal ended up seeing its rainiest day on record. That was yesterday on August 9th, and that was 154 millimeters. This is an accumulation of all of the moisture and the rain that we saw from Debby starting on Thursday. And it was, quite frankly, a very perfect setup as well, Matt. When we talk back and take a look at it, Debby ended up taking a similar route to Barrow. We had that heat dome in the east and the trough over central Canada, leaving a very narrow region for all of that moisture to once again be pushed through. But this time it was slightly towards the west, so that's why Quebec ended up seeing more of that heavier rain comparative to last time, which was actually in the States.
Yeah, speaking of heavy rain for Quebec, we talked about 154 millimeters on Friday alone registered at Montreal's airport. That beats the previous rainiest day on record for the city of 87.6 millimeters back in 1880. So it wasn't just like the rainiest day by a little bit, it was by quite a margin. Rhythm, aside from the rain, some interesting temperature storylines as well.
Well, as we see that trough pushing into regions of central Canada, into eastern Canada, that's going to bring a cool down in temperatures. When we're talking about areas like southern Ontario, even into Atlantic Canada, we are going to be feeling a little bit more like September over the next 7 days, taking a look at the temperatures below seasonal as well as just near the seasonal for Atlantic Canada. But in western Canada, that's where we're going to be looking at a ridge. So wherever we have a trough on the back end, we will be looking at a ridge forming, and that's going to mean more dry conditions, but also more warmer conditions. So when we take a look at the next 10 days across the prairies, that heat is sticking around. So in one end of the country, we might be getting a little bit excited about fall, but on the other end of the country, we're going to continue to watch some of that heat sticking around. So summer is not quite over just yet.
Yeah, temperature has been a little topsy-turvy. Yesterday, the hot spot in the country, 37 degrees in Fort Good Hope, Northwest Territory. So that northern Canada heat wave has been an interesting story, but as you're highlighting some evolution in our national temperature storyline. Rhythm, can we talk a little bit more about precipitation? Because it looks like a part of Canada that's been slammed with rain this summer maybe has even more on the way.
When we take a look over the next 16 days, Matt, quite an interesting setup. And that is going to be the same setup that brought us the moisture with Debby, the heat dome in the east, the trough towards the central Canada. What that does, again, a very narrow area for moisture from the south to travel through. So when we take a look, one of the regions we're going to be watching once again is going to be southern Ontario, right along the St. Lawrence, whereas other locations like Ontario, Quebec, or northern Ontario rather, will be expecting to stay well below seasonal for the amount of precipitation.
Now you're in the know.